Hey there, my name's Bren Vanderswag. I'm the president of GutterExperts.com and founder of GutterCon, which was held just 3 weeks ago in Denver, Colorado. I'd like to introduce my guest for today, Cory Jay. Cory is calling in from Brainerd, Minnesota. Advantage Seamless Gutters been in business since 2011, and they're on track to do $10 million in gutter-only revenue this year, likely the largest gutter company in the US of A. Cory, it's a pleasure to be chatting with you today. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you today?
Good, good. We were just chatting a little bit here before the before we press the record button, and I always like to ask people what the weather's like. You said it's like in the 60s. You're going to get up to the 70s, so your springtime weather there too.
Yeah, this is a heat wave for us coming out of the winter. We had a pretty harsh winter this year.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
actually a bummer because we got a slow start to the spring because of it. But
yeah, do you have a lot of snow in your neck of the woods?
yeah, this year was a record high. I think we got like I don't know, 80 inches. I don't remember what it was. It was a lot. It
Wow.
was constant snow.
Yeah. So I mean, you pick and choose your days, I guess, just like what we would, right?
Yeah, so we always joke. We say whenever the snow gets up to your ass, we stop hanging gutters. So
Well, as
uh,
long as it's good and crusty. I remember one year we were standing on top of the drifts that came off the roof and didn't even need ladders.
yeah, I've been there too, especially if it freezes and it gets all hard as a
Yeah,
rock and you can walk right up to them. But hard to get downspouts down to the bottom when it's that way.
that's true. Listen, you and I just met at GutterCon. I think you were my last person to actually purchase a ticket. You snuck in there the night before.
Yeah,
You were one of the doubtful ones, right?
no, I wasn't doubtful. I lead a really busy lifestyle,
Yeah,
and I wanted to go whenever it was in February.
yeah,
I told myself, I said I'll go to that. I'll make
yeah,
time and I'll go to that. And then you guys had to reschedule it.
yeah,
And I said, well, I'll wait until the week of, and if nothing is going on, I'll make sure to just commit to it. And
yeah.
that week, because I had just got back from, I was I don't remember. I think I was in California the week before GutterCon, and then I was in Iowa the week before that. I was traveling all over, and I said,
Mm.
if I don't have a good excuse by Thursday, I'll buy my ticket and I'll fly out. And I was watching everything, and I said, you know what, I've got time, so
I'm
here we
going.
go. I think
Well, I'm so
it was
glad you
at 9
did.
o'clock.
Really appreciate you coming. You and I actually did meet, not on Zoom or in person, but we actually met on, I think it was just a phone call with Tommy Mello one day.
Yeah, it was
Tommy linked you in on one of his group chats.
one of the home service. What did he call it? The home service expert
Expert,
or yeah.
home service
His
expert group. Yeah.
Yeah, so he had the group going, and he brought me on there, and I must not have left an impression on you at that point. I don't know if you remembered me yet, but
No, I remembered who you were, and I actually asked Tommy. I didn't pressure too many people to come to Gutter. I was so busy leading up to GutterCon, just trying to make everything happen. So I didn't even have time to, call people and say, "Oh, please, please come. Can you please come?" So
yeah, no, it was great. You actually did send me a message on Facebook, and I said, I'll check it out, but
yeah,
I'll do my best. I was really glad I came though. It was the networking and the people that I met were
yeah.
just fantastic. I was really excited to be able to meet some of the people that were there. So nice work putting that together.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say too. That, and really, honestly, I shouldn't say this out loud for sponsors, but it's not really even about the sponsors. I mean, sponsors are obviously an important part of a conference like that, but I would say the biggest thing for a gutter guy, small or large, because you're a big contractor, and you just said it, just meeting people. And I think you've got, like you said, Ben Conowitz, who we interviewed last week. He's actually coming up to your shop and doing a shop tour with you, right?
Yeah, he's going to come and walk through the shop. I said it, I've done shop tours for the entirety of me being in business. I've went out and tried to meet new people and guys that are doing bigger things than us, and it
Mhm.
was a humbling thing, and it's honestly one of the coolest feelings for me to know that we've gotten to a point where somebody would ever want to tour one of our tour shops.
Yeah,
So
nice.
it's
Have
cool.
you done a shop tour with a gutter guy before?
I've never been with I've never had a gutter guy walk through. I've had some local guys that buy some supplies from us and
Yeah.
stuff that have been in our shop, but not an in-depth tour. But I'm
Okay.
an open book, honestly. Like if any of my competitors walked up and wanted to walk through the shop, I'd happily take them through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I have a good working relationship with my competitors. In fact, one of my competitors came to GutterCon, so that was kind
Yeah,
of neat.
yeah,
Kind of
I
neat.
got to meet him. I sent him some pictures of some of the stuff we were doing.
Oh, geez. Oh, so you're helping him.
I am helping him. Yeah, if you want help, let me know.
Jeez. Helping him run me out of business.
Well, I haven't opened up in Canada yet, so.
Oh, well, I have to tell you something. I'm really not impressed with your company name.
Me neither.
You want to know why, though?
Why?
Well, I've been in the gutter business since 1998. And I had my first company that I owned, which was, I actually bought it from three partners. They were just a small company doing about $250,000 a year, three owners, one truck. And they kind of rotated, two guys on. They each took a day off. So like two guys would work one day and another two guys the next day. And that's how they did it. It worked for them, but they started not getting along. And so I bought the business from them in 1998. And I had an employee that came to work for me. He actually went to the same church. So it was really, really difficult the day that he went out on his own and called his business Advantage Seamless Gutters.
Was it Advantage Seamless Gutters or was it Advantage
Yeah.
East Drop?
Well, it could have been Advantage East Trough, but either way, there was certainly no advantage.
Well,
Anyway,
for me, it was all about being the top in the phone book back then. I thought
then,
that was
yeah.
the best marketing.
Well, you're not that old. You had phone books back then, 11 years ago?
So my first company that I opened was Advantage Laminates, and that would have been when I was 18. I started that, and
Yeah.
so that at that point it was a big deal, and then that was my mindset. Still was, hey, we have to be the first listing in the phone book, and now we all know that doesn't care. It could be
You could be Z
Zulu Gutters.
Zulu Gutters, and you still be at the top of Google, right?
Yeah.
So listen, I'm glad you brought that up, because I always like to ask guys, how they got started. And it sounds like once you got out of school, or maybe while you were in school, still in school, you started another business called Advantage Laminates. So what was that? What's Advantage Laminates?
So we had a countertop business. I was in my first job. I started with a cabinet company,
Yeah.
and I got the chance to kind of have him as a mentor. I was just coming out of school, and I wanted to get into business. And he had sold the cabinet side of his business to a guy, and the countertop side of his business was just kind of sitting there. And he sold me all of his equipment at a really low rate, and helped me get going and starting a laminate countertop business. And I did a lot of like store displays and commercial cabinets and stuff like that. And
so that's when you take like press wood and then you buy the laminate and then you glue it onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. How long did you do that for?
That was a couple years. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've pretty much always been self-employed.
Yeah, me too.
I've worked for some people. I worked for some awesome people through my life, and they're still mentors of mine now. And even though we've exceeded the size of some of their businesses, it's never a bad thing to stay humble and remember all your start. And some of those guys really helped me out with a lot of my problems day to day, and so it's been good. But yeah, I opened a lawn care business when I was 12 years old, and I had a lawn care business that I
beat you. I started mine at 7.
Yeah. I bought a riding lawnmower when I was like 12 or 13, and I had a custom trailer built for it so that I could load all my
around with your bike.
And then I would actually start closest to home and work furthest away so that I could get the most work done. Mm-hmm. And then my dad would pick me up at dark, and I'd load my riding lawnmower on the trailer I was pulling and throw all the other stuff in the back of his truck, and we'd head home. But yeah, every 7 days a week I'd go mow lawns, and I sold that to a friend of mine, and it was it's been fun. I've always been self-employed, and I mean I've worked for people off and on. but it's always been to gain new knowledge. You know, whenever I went into construction, I wanted to learn more about that. So I went into roofing, I did awnings for a while. I've done a little bit of everything, probably too much for my age. But
Well, I know the feeling though. I'm like that too. I've done a number of things. I've had some businesses, and you know, I'm sure I'm 50 years old. I'm sure there's still going to be another business that I'm going to run before I'm done. So,
yeah.
Does that bring you up to Advantage Seamless Gutters in 2011?
So I had actually Advantage Roofing and Siding in 2008 out of the big economy downturn. I was traveling all over the upper Midwest area doing hailstorm repair. We were doing a lot of storm damage work, and I couldn't find a gutter guy. So all the gutter guys that I would find were super flighty. They wouldn't call me back. They'd say they'd be there on Monday, but it could be Monday 2 weeks from now. You know, you never knew the date that they were actually going to show up.
Jeez, and that's kind of like me.
And then they do, you know, just not great work. And so I decided to buy a gutter machine, and we ended up using that for a little while, but I ended up actually finding a subcontractor that was great. And I learned a lot of what I know about hanging gutters from those guys, and they were super knowledgeable and helped me learn fast ways to install. And, you know, we did a ton of work with them, and I actually sent my machine back to Minnesota. I was still working in Iowa at the time and traveling. And then I had a friend of mine running Advantage Seamless Gutters in Brainerd, and he was doing like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 jobs a week. You know, it wasn't much.
Yeah.
And then I met my to-be wife, and she came on the road with me a couple times, and we said, you know, we really have to figure out a way to move home. I don't want to live on the road the rest of my life. I wanted to start a family. So we said, I told her, I said, you know, I know a lot of contractors. In 2010-11 time frame, you know, there wasn't still a ton of construction happening up here. That was still the tail end of the downturn of all the economy crash stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, I know a ton of contractors, and I think they all have the same problem I have, and that they don't have good gutter guys, you know. So we ended up doing, in the beginning, worked primarily for contractors, and I didn't have to sell any of my own stuff. They would just send me work orders. But that had to change long term. But yeah, so we moved home and started the gutter company. I did whatever I had to do. I'd scrub toilets if I had to make sure to make ends meet for the first year or two, you know. But we worked hard and hired a few people. My wife came to work for me full time in like 2014 and was doing all the books for us. And I even made her hang gutters. She had to come out and help me set a half round gutter when she was pregnant. I think she was 8 months pregnant, and she had to help me set a 70-foot gutter because I couldn't get it up there by myself.
Wow.
But,
Oh, you know, there's some gutter guys on the gutter install group that can do 80-footers all by themselves, no problem.
yeah, that's good.
I love watching the videos of them doing it. I just can't believe that they even take the chance, but they do it.
I think a 72-footer is the longest I've ever hung by myself, and it's not fun. You know, we had gutter buddies on the fascia. I staged it up ladders, and I wrapped a box around the end of the gutter so I could drag it on the ground and get it to the side of the house. But yeah, I think 50 foot is a good number. Like 50 foot is what you should hang by yourself.
50, that's a strong number anyway, I think. So
yeah.
So I mean, I'm just kind of amazed, and I think anyone listening to this podcast or interview, I guess we'll call it, would be kind of amazed that you've grown this company in 10 years to or 11 years. 11 years? This year, 11th season? To 10, you're going to be doing $10 million this year. I mean, how and it sounded like you just started like the rest of us, like just, well, actually not even like the rest of us. You started from nothing. Advantage Seamless Gutters was nothing, right? You were out doing the gutters yourself with your pregnant wife.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll never let me live that down. But yeah, it was just me. It was I had a 10, or what was it, like a 12 by 24 garage that I started out of. that's about 6 blocks from where our current shop is.
Mhm.
You know, we moved from that tiny one stall garage into the building we're in now, which you've seen from the aerial views when you were looking us up there. But
Yeah.
so it's been cool. It's been a fun journey. We doubled in size every single year for quite a while, and now we're getting into the numbers that it's getting a little challenging to double the company size, but we're still trying. We don't have any hopes or dreams of stopping growing anytime soon. So
Mhm.
we're going to continue to grow. We're shooting for 120 million is my long-term goal in gutters only. So we'll see how we do.
So without giving away too many of your secrets, I mean, that's a pretty hefty goal, but I mean, you're going to be expanding, I would think tenfold. Well, you're going to have to cover a lot more area to do that, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, geographically we'll be spreading out quite a bit, and it's all about everything for me is about expansion through people. So it's I've never went out and sought out somebody to move into a market for me. It's all about either somebody from our current organization wants to relocate and open up somewhere else, or another friend of mine from somewhere else, or a contractor that I used to work with. Actually, our general manager used to be a general manager of a construction company that we did a lot of work for, and he got fed up with working for him and called me one day and asked if he could come to work for us. And he was just a fantastic person. He's actually wandering around the warehouse here somewhere today, but he asked if he could come work for us, and I said, God, that'd be amazing. We're not ready to open up in your market, but we'll figure it out. So he actually was working for us about 2.5 hours south of where we're located now, and grew an awesome branch down there. So we've got multiple locations now, and for us, it's always about the person. Like I want good, trustworthy people that I know I can count on, and I don't have to be stressed out about them being 100, 200, 300 miles away from us.
Mhm. It's interesting because I'm kind of thinking about the same thing. I mean, we still have a lot of work in our city where we live. I have a lot more to do, but I'm finding that our name is getting known outside of our area, and we're kind of growing out. And it's just hard for us to service. We have a job next week. It's a 3-hour drive. I mean, that's tough to service an area like that. And I guess I would ask you, so how did you do it with this guy? You just got a new phone number and put him in a truck and got him a gutter machine and just started operating one house at a time, one gutter job at a time? Is that how you did it?
Yeah. So it's our expansion is probably a little unconventional, but it gets us to prove how hard the guys are willing to work to make it successful, and it really tells the story of how they're going to do with the startup. But our model is we get them a truck, we get them a sales vehicle right away of some sort, so they can work out of that, and they have to get out there and find their own warehouse. We give them some parameters of what that's going to look like. They go shopping for a warehouse, they get to pick their own building and find a location to start up out of, and then they have to get a couple days worth of work sold, and then we'll send them a truck. So it's the most stressful thing for the guys. The new manager is, well, I'm selling gutters, but I don't even have a gutter machine right now.
But it makes sense to do that because you don't sell a gutter job today and expect it done tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
you've got a couple weeks.
You've got at least 2 weeks up to maybe 4 weeks until you had to do it.
Yeah. So
And then you could just send a gutter truck down, I guess. Like in my situation, we would just send a gutter truck down for, let's say, 3 days. They'd travel down one day, get started, and stay in a hotel, two or 3 nights until the work is done, and then just come back.
Yeah.
And do that for 1 full week, then I guess.
That was how we started with the expansion. And it became hard to manage. 2 hours was kind of our max for what we wanted to drive. It's hard to leave in the morning and drive more than 2 hours away and get any work done.
Mm-hmm.
So we were driving constantly 2 hours in the morning. Our guys would start at 5 in the morning and head out to job sites 2 hours away and work all day and come, they'd get home at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And it just became really hard on the guys. So whenever we got enough work in an area, then we would make sure to set up and start a location in that area. So we started Bloomington and Alexandria fairly close to each other, the two locations, but it was because we were in those areas doing so much work, and we found some guys willing to operate in those markets for us.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So as you were growing, what was the hardest part of your 11-year journey to today in 10 million? I mean, I heard Tommy speak at our conference at Gutter-Con, and he also spoke again this past weekend. I had the pleasure of going to his conference in Phoenix, and one of the things that he said that really kind of stuck with me was, and he said it in his closing statement, which was so powerful to me. He said, it just gets easier as you gets bigger. So, I feel like, we do under $1 million a year, and I'm like, how do you have 10 times, how can you deal with 10 times the shit I deal with? Like, it's impossible. I'm busy all day just dealing with shit. But you don't have to, because you have people to deal with it, or you don't even let the shit happen.
Yeah, it comes down to just awesome people that are around us, and being able to set up like a good way for those guys to be able to solve the problems on their own. So a lot of the problems I don't even find out about. I don't know about them until much later on down the road, and they're like, geez, this is a huge pain in the ass. And I'm like, God, I had no clue that was even going on.
Wow.
But they, if you can empower them to take care of the problems themselves, and we set parameters around when they have to notify me or what's going on, but we give them the power to solve most of those problems themselves. So as you get bigger, as you get more people in place, I think it does get a lot easier, but the stress doesn't get easier. Not for me anyway, but I think I'm wired for it to an extent.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you pretty well have to be. So you didn't really answer my question. So when were the toughest years for Advantage Seamless Gutters for you?
I think probably breaking our first million was one of the most stressful times, and then breaking past 2 million. What it changes the amount of stuff we're doing. We're actually working on a Capex plan right now that shows like what type of equipment, how much personnel is needed to run a $500,000 location, $1 million location, a $2 million location, and then a $5 million location. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised at how big that number gets when you get to the 5 million mark. And that's the problem with gutters, is that it's pretty capital intensive as you start growing, to buy trucks and trailers and box trucks and equipment and machines and ladders. And, it's not like some of the other industries where you can buy, like I've got a friend that has a mosquito spraying business, and they have a small pickup and a leaf blower pretty much, and they're up and running, and not a ton of talent behind it. But there's been some big points. The 1 million and 5 million that are two of the bigger ones that we've dealt with. The 2 million it just added a lot of different levels. I was actually talking with Ben Conowitz about that a little bit, is that whenever you decide to break that 2 million mark, you have to be willing to take much less net than what you're used to, because when you break the 2 million, you have to put the people in place to become a $5 million company. Mm-hmm. And it usually affects your bottom line more than people sometimes have the stomach for. But it's a short-term loss that, we had to put that in place at different points to know that, all right, we're going to need a controller, we're going to need a general manager, we're going to need a sales manager. So you end up sizing yourself bigger than what you currently are, as long as you're still growing.
Gotcha.
But
and so you're on track to do 10 million. I mean, how quickly can you scale up to get to the 120 I think you said you were planning on doing?
Our goal is within 5 years.
5 years. So you're gonna double almost double every year.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that?
You
Must
know,
have a good friend at the bank.
they're not as friendly as they used to be. They're starting to
No.
question my sanity, I think. But no, it's yeah, good banking relationships, good relationships with all the staff around us, and a good plan. Like I'm not much of a planner. I'm more of a doer. So my general manager is much more of a planner and can make sure to put some of those measures in place so we can see what it's going to take. But
yeah, well, that's actually brings up a good point. I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, what's the hierarchy like? It sounds like you're quite involved in the business day to day.
I'm pretty involved in the high level decisions. I'm not crazy involved in like the operations anymore. I put a tool belt on a year ago, and went out and did a big townhome complex that we did. I think some of the guys on the pages, the Facebook pages that you're on, have seen like the one video that we had, and everybody wondered where we came from because we had like 20 trucks pulling out of a job site that I took a video of. But that one I went out and hung, so I was in the operations that day. But it was that sometimes it's more of a bragging rights to say that I can still do it, I think.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I still enjoy hanging gutters. That's the part that that's the reason I got into this, is because I'm hands-on and I like doing stuff like that. But I'm not super involved in day-to-day. I have a general manager, I have a production manager, I have location managers. We have at our Brainerd location, Brainerd's the biggest. We're actually adding a new position this year that's a field install manager, because we have one production manager that's managing, like this year I think he's going to be managing 10 crews. We're at 7 right now, but we're adding a few more. We've been buying equipment left and right, and it's just getting to be too much for one person to manage. I think it's everybody should only have like 3 direct reports. I think 3 to 5, depends on how aggressive they are, but it's better, I think, to keep it at around that 3 number. But yeah, so I have a lot of people between me and the frontline guys, but I would say every frontline person that we employ through Advantage would say that they know me fairly well. I'm still out. I get here at, some days 4 in the morning and then wander the shop floor and try to dream up the next big idea. And I like to try to see the guys out, and I think it's good to be the guy that's still sitting at the warehouse once in a while when they get back at 7 o'clock at night. So
Yeah,
I'm not always that guy, but
yeah, I think you're right though. It makes a difference with how they look at you too, right? And slapping on a tool belt, run up the ladder, show them how it's done. That wouldn't hurt either.
yeah, I'm not as agile and athletic as I used to be, but I still do pretty good.
Yeah, well, you're only 37 or 38, is it?
37, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So I know you probably gave out a lot of advice at GutterCon. I know, once people heard what kind of volume we're doing, I think, that triggered everyone to kind of like, oh, we got to go talk to this guy. What would be something, if you had some good, solid advice to give to someone, not necessarily that's trying to grow to 10 million, but even a small guy that's trying to, grow to 1 and, get to 1.5 or even 2. Because I think that's where most businesses are under, at around the million mark.
Yeah. Delegate faster and be willing to let people make mistakes. That's one of the biggest fears that I think people have, is letting go and saying, well, I can never trust this guy to be in the field. If you give them the roadmap and let them know what you expect for quality, let them get out there and let them fail, but correct them, make sure that they know that your quality, your standard has to be met. There's nobody in this building that would tell you that I would let things slide. Everybody knows that I'm the pickiest person in the company, and but I let them. I give them the freedom to do what they need to do. I was looking around the computer here that she must have taken her sign down, but one day I put a sign on everybody's computer here and it said, "It's your shift." And I always tell people it's your ship. You drive the motherfucker. I don't want to turn this thing around. I let people make their decisions. I let them do stuff. And if I didn't feel it was perfect, we talk about what it could have been different like. And I can be pretty abrasive, but you'll never question where I stand on a topic. I'll always let you know how I'm feeling on it.
Well,
But
that brings up,
delegate
what's that?
just delegate faster. That's the biggest
Delegate
goal.
faster. Yeah, I think, that's probably been, I'll have to admit, that's probably been one of the things that has held me back over the years. Like, I don't trust anyone to scheduling the cruise. Like, I just cannot let it go. Even this morning I was busy doing that. I was away for like, the best part of a week, and everything ran fine, but just got to get my fingers in there. It's tough.
It's
Um, but that brings me to my next question. How do you deal with pay in your company with your people?
So our guys are hourly, which I know is not the industry standard.
Mine are too.
We've messed around with some of the piece rate stuff, and I haven't had great luck. I want things done my way. I was never paid on piecework for gutters. I was when I used to shingle houses myself. I got paid by the square, but on the gutter side, I was, I actually was somewhat self-taught in the way we were going to do all this. I didn't have a role model to tell me how to set up a gutter company. I didn't have a Bren telling me how to start up Advantage Seamless, but I guess I would have named it something else if it was you telling me to start it up. But we pay everybody hourly. We do have some incentives based on profitability of the job. So they get
of the job or of the truck.
It's of every job. So we let the lead guy we check profitability on every single job that's tracked inside Service Titan.
Right.
And every time that they get anything over the goal gross margin, we do profit sharing over the gross margin goal, and they split it up in the truck. So the lead guy is the one that qualifies for the bonus. Mm-hmm. But our goal is, like, we foster setting people up to become leads really fast. Like, some guys make lead within a few months with us as long as they're learning fast, and that's everybody's goal here, is to be a lead. And we actually have some one-man trucks, which is somewhat unheard of, I know, as well. But we have guys that are just crushing it on being one-man installs, and those guys are running the highest profit margins and getting the biggest bonuses. So they love it. But
wow, they must be somewhat limited to the jobs they do, though.
What do you mean?
Do you put them all on 40-foot bungalows, or are they doing big jobs too? Like,
so they'll do some big jobs, and that's the so like our branch managers or our field install managers, they would go out and, like, if they know they have a 60 or 70 or 80 foot run to hang in the morning, they would meet them at that job site first, run out that one gutter, help them get it hanging on the house, and then they leave.
I see.
So we've done some of that. Or if it's it becomes more of a scheduling nightmare, but we know that, if we have two jobs that need help on 80 footers, we can send two crews to those jobs to start off, and then they split off and go to their second job once they get the big gutters up. We work around it a little bit, but yeah, we have to limit them a little bit to the 50-foot runs of gutter. But,
yeah, of course. But
there's a lot of those out there, so that it helps at bigger locations. I've got crews I have a lot of 2-man crews, and then I have a couple of 1-man crews. But
do you run 3-man crews?
I don't have any 3-mans unless they're training.
Well, I guess that's what we try to do, is we run 2-man crews, but we're always trying to train a third.
Yeah. So we add a third guy onto a crew. They have to go through a short training and kind of in office and learning what we expect. And then they go out in the field, and the first part of it is, all right, you're just going to learn to hang today or this week, but we don't want it to strain the crew. So it's a third person that they just kind of help the guy that's hanging for the day and learn some of his techniques. And, we've got guys that are good at training new people. Mm-hmm. And then, the next week they'll learn on making, and and then they end up as a second, which is typically majority of it is hanging gutter as a second coming through. But
Right.
it's
So as far as, do you have a training facility, or is it just, kind of teaching them what an end cap and an elbow is the first day?
yeah. So a lot of it is like I've got like a 40-some page training manual or something like that that goes through the basics of how to hang a gutter. But it's teaching them the parts, the lingo, knowing what everything is, knowing the difference between an A and a B elbow. I know you don't have that problem with the square
Nope.
downspouts up there, but talking about what hangers are, what hanger spacing is for us, what all the ins and outs of the gutter, and then we get them out on the job so that they can realize what all that meant. And currently, we do not have a training facility in house. I'm working on building one. We have the blueprints are being drawn as we speak for a in-house training facility where we can train a lot of guys in the winter time, because as you know from Canada, it can be a little harsh in the winter months and it's hard to train guys outside, but that's the best time to hire. Those guys, the construction guys are looking for new jobs in the winter months.
Well, why don't we go splits and set up a training facility in Phoenix, Arizona in the winter?
That would be a good idea. All my guys would happily fly down and train people in a different climate. I think Florida would be a good place too, though.
Florida would be good too. Yeah, exactly.
Arizona doesn't have a lot of gutters.
No, they certainly don't. I noticed that, but it's nice, still nice to. There's a bigger opportunity there, maybe.
Yeah, it's. Right. I actually met with a gutter guy out there, but he was an awning company as well as a gutter guy. So every awning that they sold got a gutter, so that if it did rain, it didn't drip behind the gutter or behind the awning.
Makes sense. So, what's your week like? A typical week for Cory Jay at Advantage Seamless Gutters.
So we meet with sales team every single morning. So I have a 15-minute sales call every day.
Is that a mojo call like Tommy?
Similar. Yeah, we go over good topics. We talk a little bit about setting goals. We talk about, so we have it structured every day of the week as a different agenda that we go over. 2 of the days are role playing, where we'll pick out half the team role plays one day, half of them the other day. My forklift's up there making some noise, I think. But the half of the team that goes in the middle of the week, half of them goes at the end of the week. We do some role playing and teach them how to deal with different scenarios, deal with problem customers, or deal with objections. And we train those every day. We work with our managers every day. I'm in a lot of meetings, which I hate meetings, so it's kind of funny that it's become that way. But I spend a lot of time on the phone and in meetings, and I always said, it used to be my job to sell the gutters. Now it's my job to motivate people to sell gutters or motivate people to install faster. So we do weekly check-ins with all the field guys. We do monthly training sessions where we bring all of the installers in and train every single month on something. And then we have quarterly all company meetings where we get everybody together. The whole company comes together and we train on bigger topics and have kind of a motivational session and do something fun with the guys.
Yeah, I get that was one of the things that I kind of took away too. I mean, something that I'm working on here is just company culture. Just we're even, I hate to say it out loud, but I'm even thinking about doing a 3-day weekend once a month.
We do them every week.
Shit, do you?
Yeah, we only work 4 days a week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, or unless it rains, then we do work Friday. So Friday is an overflow day. So every Friday they come in and it's still scheduled in. Sometimes they don't need it if they hit their goals. If they got all their installs done, they'll wash their trucks on Thursday night. But every Friday we clean out, wash the trucks, go through everything, and then they have the weekend off. But if it rained on Monday or something, then our week ran over, then we'll work on Friday. But so a couple of years ago we went to the 4-day weeks.
So do you still pay them for Friday?
They just get paid their hourly rate for we work 4/12s. And then
I see. Okay. So
on Friday they would get paid their hourly wage, whatever they come in.
So okay. So you're shooting for 40 to 48 hours a week.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess, yeah, that seems reasonable then. I would, what we're thinking about doing is doing it not every week, but I guess we could do that every week if we had the weather. But you get your 40 hours in and take Friday off.
Yeah. The guys love having Friday to go do stuff, and it's helped with employee retention a little bit. We've got a lot of guys that like race motocross or go hunting or fishing on the weekends, and they love having that Friday off. They know it's
Wow.
not a guarantee, but
So it would just drive me nuts to see all those trucks sitting there on Friday. Like, it's bad enough Saturday and Sunday, but
yeah.
would you have like part-time crews that would work on Fridays and Saturdays, or no?
We've talked about it on trying to figure out a way to do it, because it irks me seeing the equipment sit there for 3
Yeah.
days. But the biggest problem, like our guys take like extreme ownership of their trucks, and
Yeah.
they would be so pissed to have somebody else in their truck.
Yeah, I get it. And
But
would there be, I guess the only other way you could do it is have a couple pickup trucks with trailers or something. Do you do gutter cleaning and repairs and stuff like that, or all just installs?
we do gutter cleaning, repair. We have gutter covers. But we've dabbled a little bit with gutter cleaning memberships, where we just automatically schedule their appointments, and we come out 3 to 5 times a year.
Mhm.
We
Has
don't
that worked well for you?
It's worked okay. That's actually for us a little bit harder to staff. We almost need separate staff for that. Our gutter installers hate cleaning gutters.
Yeah, I know. But I think the key is, at least for me, I've noticed 3 years ago, I put a truck completely dedicated to gutter cleaning, repairs, leaf guard installation. And when they're not busy, I just put them on a tear off, or, helping the guys on a big job. And it's so nice having that dedicated truck there that you can just send out.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. We've got the same type of some service trucks that are out running around for that stuff. But it's it's good to have those guys want to do that work.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You almost gotta pay them better than installers to do that work.
Yeah,
You know,
and they can make good money. I mean, they, if they're hustling, they can make great money doing the gutter cleanings and the gutter covers, and
yeah,
so it works out well.
yeah.
So
Well,
you were
listen,
talking before we get running here, but you were talking a little bit about company culture, and I think Ben really nails it. I'm excited to meet with him this weekend. But
yeah,
what's some of the stuff that you do for company culture?
you know what? I don't do enough of it. That's part of that. I think that's part of my problem. I mean, we're having a tough time attracting people. I used to attract people. Um, I felt that we attracted people. I was very rarely advertising for people. It was just, people would come and ask, do you have a position? And we would, probably hire them. And it's not like that anymore. And I think people have changed a little bit too. Like, it's not that glamorous, but I have to say that I've probably maybe done less. And maybe that's part of me getting older too. I used to be younger, and, the guys are the same age as me. So, I mean, I used to drink every week and have them over at my house on Saturday night before we hit the bars. I don't do that anymore, of course, right?
Sure you don't.
Not with my guys anyway, but so I don't know. It's something I got to work on. I mean, we always try to, we do pizzas on birthdays, but I mean, geez, that's nothing. You got to almost give the guy the day off on the birthday nowadays.
Yeah,
You
that's.
know,
I think Ben actually was telling me he gives their guys the birthday off paid, and
yeah,
then he does something else for him besides maybe a gift or something. So him and I will
yeah.
chat a little bit about that.
I mean, that is certainly something I'm going to look at a little bit closer. I'm going to look at, guys being with us the 3-month mark, of course, once they pass their probationary period, their 1-year mark, I'm going to do something. I mean, honestly, I don't have any employees that are over 2 years with me other than my operations guys. So, it's just, these are all things that I was hoping you were going to tell me what to do, not you ask
Yeah.
me. But
Well,
but I am thinking about it. I mean, obviously wages are going up. I mean, we probably increased our wages probably 30% this year.
yeah.
And I think I have to do even more than that. But we're increasing our prices too, and it doesn't seem to slow anything down. This was one other thing I was going to ask you, and this has to do something to do with company culture. Do you do any other styles of gutter other than just K style?
So we do 5 and 6 inch K style. We have one Nasser machine, which you should be familiar with out of your
Yes.
market. That's a fascia style machine with.
Well, we don't have any around here, but I certainly have heard about them.
Yeah, so I have a multi-profile Nasser machine. We have 2 profiles for that one. We call that our designer series, but it's a fascia style gutter. And then we have a couple half round machines as well.
Okay. You don't have a box gutter machine?
We do not have a box. We're looking at maybe getting into a 7 inch box style gutter.
Yeah.
But coil is the most challenging part for us. There's just not a lot of suppliers that.
Well, if you go with a 6 inch box, European style, just takes a 6 inch gutter coil.
Yeah, that's maybe what we should do.
It's so popular. It's getting so popular. So that was going to be the next thing I say. We're actually thinking about getting rid of our 5 inch K style gutter, just not even doing it. Yep.
That's a great idea.
Because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just focus on what everyone else doesn't do.
We don't sell a lot of 5 inch. That's why all my machines are combos.
And
they primarily stay on 6 inch. We try to push for the 6 inch.
We haven't pushed for the 6 inch, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to price the 5 inch so close to 6 inch that we'll just give you the 6 inch as an upgrade, if we feel we have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do a lot for value building whenever we're getting into the 6 inch or the half round or the designer series. And I think that's the thing that gets lost a lot with people is knowing how much time to spend building the value to be able to get the most money out of it. We want to be able to sell as high as we can and still feel that we're offering value for that. Because I keep bringing up Ben, but it's because I'm excited he's coming this weekend, right? But we talked a lot about, I care more about my internal customers than my external customers. On that level. And in order to take care of the internal customers, your employees, you have to charge enough to be able to take care of them.
Yeah.
So it's, the customer has to be willing to pay for the level of service that we bring, and they typically are. We get a premium dollar for what we do, and then we're able to offer benefits and take care of our guys and have nice trucks.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
And something so simple well, I say it's simple, but it's not as simple as this, but and I know a lot of guys uniform their guys, but buy them nice clothes, comfortable, good clothes. They just appreciate that so much.
I don't know. Our installers wear it's a crazy expensive shirt. I'm gonna see if I can grab it real quick for you.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much, they're like a.
Yes, it's like the window cleaning guys or power washing guys wear that stuff.
Yeah, so they're like a baseball jersey or whatever.
Yeah.
They're a dye sub shirt, but we get so many compliments on the job sites about the guys looking nice, and it's a cool shirt to wear.
Yeah.
And our installers love getting them. But we have a lot of swag that they get, and like you were talking, we have benchmarks where they get coats and cups and nice things. We're actually, it's really neat. We're getting to the point where we have to come up with a gift to give the guys that on their 10-year anniversary. So
wow. What do you think you're going to do?
I think we're going to do a custom gun. I think we're going to get like a custom printed, like a custom shotgun,
like an Uzi or something?
Like a rifle or a shotgun or something. We're up north, right? So.
Yeah. We're not allowed to have guns here. Like, heaven forbid you have a gun.
We have a lot of guns here.
Yeah, no, I know. I found that out. Yeah, I found that out already. I saw a guy at the airport, and security was like, "You can't bring this sucker here, man." It was a freaking 9mm or something. Oh, gee, I couldn't believe it. I was going to ask. Oh, so what do you think? This is because you're talking about a 10-year thing. I was actually thinking about a trip down south or something, like Dominican or something. I mean, that might be a nice trip, like him and his wife.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know I don't know what a gun would cost, but you could probably send them down to Dominican for an all-inclusive paid trip for $2,500 or so. And over 10 years, that's not a lot of money.
So I've got mixed opinions on trips. I think they're fun. I think they're fun to give out. We've had some of our guys that worked for roofers before that every year they all went to, to Cancun or wherever and had trips paid for. But a lot of times I don't feel that they appreciate the trip and the value that much, where whenever you give them something tangible to hang on to that they're proud to hold and proud to call their own, I think there's more meaning and more heart behind that. And it feels, to me, it feels like it means more and they care about it for a longer period of time. Right? Like we gave away Yeti cups at one of our Christmas parties and everybody just beholds those to the highest standard, so
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah, well, it's an important thing, and I know we spoke about it at Gutter-Con, and I suspect we'll still be talking about it next year too.
Yeah. It's going to be a constant topic for us.
Yeah.
The buzzword is culture, but it's really like, would you want to work for you? It doesn't have to be about culture. It just has to be like, you know what? I want to love going to work every day. That's the reason we're self-employed, is because we wanted to make something better for ourselves. And you should want to do the same for your staff. If they're going to stay with you for 5, 6, 10 years, it has to be something that they love coming to and they love showing up to every day, just like having your own company.
Yeah. I think you're right there. I've actually, one of the things that we're doing this year, we brought back a couple employees, not as employees, but as subcontractors this year. So, we're keeping them busy, but they have their own crews. So, we heard that they were thinking about going out on their own. So we just said, well, if you're going to go out on your own, would you like some work? So we're going to try to make that work. We'll see how it goes. We'd like them to wear our uniforms and brand themselves as us, but they want to do their own thing too. So we'll have to navigate through that, but it's nice having 4 trucks out again. I'll tell you that. This winter I had just one out. It was brutal. Just couldn't get anything done.
Yeah. Why not? So let me challenge you on it though. Why, if your guys say they want to go out on their own, why not say, well, do you want to start a SubLocation?
Well,
and still work with us, and we can let you share in the profits and grow a little bit on that end of it.
Yeah, we're definitely I'm going to be talking to you about that for sure. I mean, this is one thing I asked you about, how you got started with other locations, and maybe I didn't really think about it the way you brought it up. Was you said you give them a truck and you tell them to go out and start selling. I never really thought about that. I thought that would be up to me to do that, and they would just do the install.
Yeah, let them sell it.
Yeah.
Then you can help them train the staff. Be like, you know what? You don't want to be on a truck the rest of your life, do you? Do you want to be on a truck the rest of your life, friend?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's the end goal for most gutter guys, is how do we paint a picture beyond where they're currently at? Because that's the reason the gutters are dead end jobs.
That's probably why the brothers are doing so well. They're training guys to run crews or run shops, right? Not trucks.
Yeah.
Run shops.
Yeah, it's okay to be on the truck for a little while when you get going, and that's kind of the natural progression of it. Yeah. But our goal is to get the guy off the truck and let them grow and expand inside the company.
Yeah.
So hire 20-year-olds.
How do you do it? How do you do the profit sharing with a location?
So we've done like several different models, so I don't have the perfect answer for that, but we're actually in the process of building a new benchmarking process that all of their bonuses are a small portion of it is based off of profits of the location, and then other benchmarks are like employee retention and safety factors and lack of waste, so that still comes into profit. But we're setting up some benchmarks for them to hit, and then setting certain dollar amounts that are circled around those. My original plan and thought, and the way we went with stuff was, well, I'll just give them a portion of the overall proceeds. Well, it's that works to an extent, but at the same time, you still want to be able to let everybody understand that we need capital to grow the company as well. So we want to make sure that they understand that a portion of it is still in growth of the company. And, you know, we want to incentivize guys to be growing the branch, not just staying the most profitable. So
Right.
that was the reason that we started restructuring it a little bit, so that they were still getting bonuses, but not all of it based on the profitability, because we want to push them to grow to a $1, $2, $3 million location. And if they're just being bonused off of profits, they'll just stay at a $500,000 location and do all the work themselves and keep as much profit as possible. And that's not getting them to grow.
Mhm. So are you handling all the admin stuff at head office then when that happens, or do they have their own team?
We handle all of it in our main corporate office. So they, at their locations, really, they start as a kind of as a salesman, and then they end up hiring a crew and a salesman. And, you know, we handle all of the tax filings. We handle all of the invoices.
Is it actually a separate business when they set up a location?
All of the out-of-state ones have been a separate business. The in-state ones we've kept as SubLocations that just
Yeah.
run their own P&L.
I see. Gotcha. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm anxious to come up and see you someday and dig a little deeper into all the stuff we already talked about.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I'm an open book.
Yeah, you said that. Well, listen, have fun this weekend with Ben, and you never know, you might have Bren there too.
Hey, more the merrier.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us today. I know that you're going to get a lot of hits. I know Ben, I haven't checked how many hits his interview had, but he had quite a few hits. And I think you're going to have some too. So thanks so much for meeting with us, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thanks, Brent.